Welcome to the Femalepreneur Coach podcast. I am your host, Rebecca Barr. I am a transformational mindset and business coach and six-figure award-winning female entrepreneur. Ladies, I'm here to tell you that business and making money doesn't have to be hard when you're in alignment and flow. Inside this podcast, I will be showing you how to transform your mindset to program it for success, how to maximize your money vibrations, and how to redesign your business for ultimate financial and time freedom. You know you are meant to live an epic life. Now it's time to claim it. Hi ladies, welcome to another episode of the Femalepreneur Coach podcast. I'm your host, Rebecca Barr, and I'm so excited to be joined today by one of my success sisters, Sally, who is essentially an e-commerce and mindset coach for busy corporate mums who want to escape the 9-to-5, but also one of my business besties.
Yeah, hey babe.
And I'm so excited for this conversation because it's Monday and that's my favorite day of the week. But also, already we were just chatting offline, and there is so much going to be, like, I know there's going to be so much gold in this episode, because one thing we are both truly aligned on is like just keeping it real, sharing all the things, like no BS approach to business.
Yes.
So thank you so much for being here and gifting me this beautiful time.
Hey, thank you for having me. It's awesome to be here with you. It's just beautiful.
Yay! So we can make sure that you get like a proper introduction. Obviously, I mentioned that you have an e-commerce business and that you support other women to essentially launch and scale their own as well from the inside out, because you also cover the mindset elements. But is there anything else that you want to kind of like introduce in terms of like your backstory? How did you get here and all of the things?
So I guess my story started probably as like a lot of other women do. You're stuck in a corporate job. I've been doing it for absolutely years. The company I work for were amazing, like incredible. But I found myself with, I think a 6-month-old baby covered in sick. I remember the day like it was yesterday. I was sitting there. She was covered in sick and puree. I was covered in sick and puree, taking my clothes off, sitting on the sofa, bursting into tears because I knew I was going back to work soon. And I was like, you know, when you feel like a dark cloud is hanging over you, you know you've got to do this. But equally at the same time, I kind of got to a point where thinking, like, the job I had was brilliant, but I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be in a position where I have to ask for holiday. Like, who the hell invented that you only get 25 days holiday? And who the hell invented the fact that you have to work set hours? Like,
oh my God, my son, Luciano, is 5. He is like appalled at the education system.
yeah.
He's like, I'm going back to school again. Like, I was just there the other day and I was like, sorry, darling, like 5 days till the weekend. He was like, why?
Yeah,
He was like, mummy, and you only get like 2 days off. What is that about? I was like, I know, son, you better learn to be an entrepreneur.
Right, I got to the point where I was like, who made these rules up? It's not that I want to break them at all, but it's more that I want to be able to work on my terms. I'm a hardworking girl. When I put my mind to something, we are doing it. But I want to do it on my terms now. So I remember I made one powerful phone call. I made one powerful phone call to my best friend, who she is a businesswoman. She is a mum. She's got her head screwed on. And I was in tears and I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, what am I doing? And she was like, you need to get your mindset straight, because that is where it starts. And she essentially sent me off on a journey. She told me one person to follow on Facebook and Instagram. And I did that, and that is where it started. And I really started to delve into the depths of universal energy, universal laws, manifestation, how actually, in reality, kind of the way I look at it is we are in a movie. It's your movie. You are the director. You are the star role. You are the writer. You are everything. And if that movie is not playing out how you want it to, well, it's on you to be able to change it. You can do that, but you have to get the mindset piece right first of all, because I think there's so many times where it's like, oh, you know, I'm going to, I don't know, travel the world or do all these things. It's like, but the mind has to be in the right place. So I spent about 2 years, I did go back. I spent about 2 years really investing back into myself and understanding who I was, what I wanted. And eventually it kind of just took me on a journey where this same particular coach, back in I think it was like the beginning of 2020, she launched a program which was basically profit for products. So I thought, come on then, let's have a go. Why not? What's the worst that's gonna happen? I fall on my ass, but I learned something from it. And actually what I did, I ended up creating a pet brand that did exceptionally well. I now ship into Amazon. They ship out like in all across Europe. I have shipped to the States, Canada. And then I managed to get into like regional distribution places. So I was like selling through pet stores. I even approached like the big giants. I approached Tesco's and I approached Sainsbury's and I approached those guys to be like, look at this product. This is what I've done. And that's how the journey really started, to be honest with you. I think it was started from a sensation of feeling stuck.
Yeah. And it's amazing that we need that sometimes. That's the thing. I don't know if you like, I think Oprah says about the universe will send you like subtle whispers and nudges when you're not in alignment with what you're meant to be doing, when you're not on track with
Absolutely.
ultimately like your soul's path. And if you continue to like ignore those, at some point it is literally going to like knock down the whole wall.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what happened with me. It's almost like, because I'd always had nudges of like, I want to do something else. I remember having conversations with my dad years ago where he'd be like, oh, you should set up your own business. You could do something on your own. I always thought, yeah, you know what? I would really like that. But it wasn't, I think the push wasn't there. It
Yeah.
wasn't big
And it
enough.
probably felt like such a risk as well, because if you've
Absolutely.
got what we all thought before COVID was like a nice, safe job, to then go into something that's completely unknown, that's entirely like off the back of your efforts, it's really bloody hard as a woman to be. And I don't think many, if any, like hardly any that I've ever spoken to, women that are really successful in business are like just those entrepreneurial types that always knew, you know,
Yeah.
like these Richard Branson types. It's typically come from a place of necessity, but
Yeah.
ultimately it's shown them what they're made of, and then they
Oh,
become unstoppable.
absolutely. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? It's like even when you have those moments of falling over and falling flat on your face or flat on your ass, if you can take a learning from that, that actually, because I've had many moments through the business where I've been like, oh, and actually, if you flip it on its head completely, this is just an opportunity for me to learn. This is an
Yeah.
opportunity for me to grow in this particular area. Okay, X didn't work. Okay, let's try Y. Okay, that worked. It's
Yeah.
that. It's how you frame it really in your own mind. So yeah, it was. I definitely needed the universe to give me a giant kick in the ass.
Yeah, I had the same thing. I, like you, I'd kind of dabbled with the idea of maybe having
Yeah,
a business, because I think as women, like, you know, we all
yeah,
inherently know that like we're meant for more, but
yeah.
because society and our mindset holds us
Right.
back and tells us to be sensible, stop being such a crazy woman, like just
Yeah.
be sensible, stick with what's safe. I just, you know, God, imagine how many women are out there with that untapped potential. And I had the same thing. It wasn't until the universe literally like blew up my whole world that it was like, well, bitch, you said you wanted a business, and you've kind of like,
Here you
I
go.
pissed about with so many little eBay businesses on my maternity leaves, thinking like,
Yeah.
I'm not going back, I'm not going back, but never really having the guts to go all in. So I did like little network marketing business, eBay
Yeah.
business, all of the
Yeah.
things. And then it wasn't until the universe was like, well, essentially my mum had a stroke. So she was my
Yeah.
main childcare. And I had like 3 kids, single parent. And it was like, well, you just got to go now. So I
I
literally,
do.
yeah, I had to sell my house and go
Oh,
all in.
yeah.
But and I bought business and relocated and all the things, but it was like until I literally had no plan B or back out,
Yeah.
was I then actually really like who I was always meant to be. I'm so grateful for that journey now. Like,
It's so
yeah.
interesting. I went to see Gary Vee speak last
I
week.
know, I'm so excited. I love him.
You know what? I am that girl. I am that girl. I sat at the front. I got there early. I was like, I'm going to sit at the goddamn front,
I
right
see
in the
you.
middle. Right in the middle. So I got there. I did it. And the second he finished speaking, he'd kind of said, look, if there's anybody that's got any questions or you want to come and meet me, like, feel free. I was like a dog out the traps.
Yeah.
I literally ran out to him. And I said to him, like, if you could give any sort of business advice, what would it be? Like to someone of my age or someone younger? And he said, you know what it is? He said, we live in this box, in this conventional world where it's almost like you're told that you've got to get the education,
Mhm.
you should probably go to university, and then, 20s or whatever, you need to get a good job. And he was like, it's so backwards. He was
Yeah.
like, 20s are for taking risks,
Yeah.
going all in on yourself and being like, do I like this? Do I like this? No, I don't. Like, he was like, take those risks in that moment. He was like, you know what? I still meet people in their 60s, 70s that are setting up businesses and they're taking risks to be like, to actually work out who I am and what I want. And I was like, I feel like that was a great piece of advice. Like,
Yeah.
take the risk, take the jump, because ultimately, it's like I said to my mother a little while ago, I don't ever want to get to my deathbed and lie there and be like, I regret.
Yeah.
Never
100%.
going to happen.
And here's the thing, like, we're not living in a time anymore, which we kind of like forget about, but we're living in a time where there is no end of abundance available to us.
Absolutely.
Like,
Right.
you can literally go all in on a business and still have a job and still have another side hustle
Yeah.
and still be a mum and still be a good
Yeah.
partner. Like, thanks to like the iPhone and all the opportunity,
Right.
the internet and all the things, like, it's there is no end of like opportunities, network
No.
marketing businesses and things like that. You don't have to go around and sell bloody Ann Summers, turn up at people's house with Avon or Tupperware anymore, ladies. Like, you don't have to choose.
No.
You can have it all if you are prepared to do the work and give yourself full permission to go all in.
Absolutely right. And I think it's that, isn't it? It's like it's the fear, isn't it? Of like, can I do this? Absolutely, yes, you can. And you can make some amazing learnings through it as well. And you will grow as a human. Like
Yeah,
growth.
one way or another.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And I truly believe that like obviously growth is one of our basic human needs. And if
yeah.
you're not growing in some way, your soul will feel so constricted. And then that's what then brings in the pain element and the feeling of stuck and frustration and anger and why are they doing it? How are they getting it? It's like we need the growth.
Yeah, it's like Tony Robbins says, doesn't he? If you're not
Yeah.
growing, you're dying. And I
Yeah.
truly believe that.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely. I believe that with every ounce of my heart. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and your body will typically know before your mindset will, because
Yes.
your brain will be trying to like logical and rationalize, like mansplain everything.
Yeah.
And it'll be like, oh, no, 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 it's fine, like, da, 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 when actually like your body and your soul knows. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
so I just circling back on Gary Vee, because
Oh,
again, that's a great testament to your, like you say, your development and your
absolutely.
investment in yourself.
Mm.
Was that an event that he was hosting?
No, it wasn't. It was at a business event that I managed to randomly get a free ticket for, and it had some really good other business people there. Stephen Bartlett was there as well.
Sally, I thought we were friends. Why was I not invited?
He was there. There was another guy who used to be. He was an ex-professional, like really high professional rugby player, and he
Yeah,
got a knee injury. And obviously, I guess if you're in that space, to him, his career was completely over. You know, he
yeah,
couldn't play
that's
rugby.
probably his whole identity as well.
Absolutely right, and he had to, and he'd built a business off of the back of it, and he was in like the nutrition and the sports space, and he was absolutely flying. He was doing amazingly well. There was a lady as well. She was, again, I think she was a long jump, but she was ready to go to 2012 Olympics, and
Yeah,
again, she got an injury, and they cut her from the squad. She was literally ready to go, and she said she got to a point where she was like, I like that was my whole life. So
yeah.
she said she started to do little things and she ended up going to work for bless you.
Sorry.
Going to work for Puma for a little bit. She said I did an intern with them. I wasn't being paid. I just went and did it. And eventually she ended up working with Peloton and doing some amazing things with Peloton and really creating a brand out of that itself. So it's like it kind of shows you that actually, yeah, sometimes when you hit the wall,
Yeah.
that's the point the universe is like, right,
That's the
we're gonna
thing.
we're
It's
gonna
like the
shake this shit up.
hero's journey, isn't it? And I think a lot of women, like, if you're feeling that stuck state right now,
Mm.
because essentially 2023 was a bit of a shit show, wasn't it?
Oh, it was
Emotionally,
awful.
spiritually, a lot of people had
It
a
was
roller
horrible.
coaster. Yeah. And it's like, if you are still in that stuck energy, then this is your opportunity to really see it
Absolutely.
as your hero's journey
Yeah.
and create your own plot twists where it's like, it was at this moment that
Yeah.
everything changed on its head, because you have that power to choose again every time. Otherwise,
Absolutely.
2024 will be more of the same, by the way. I got that on good authority from my
Absolutely.
spiritual
And, and
sisters.
and and again, that's what you're attracting, right?
Yeah.
It's the moment you stop and you go, I don't like this. I don't like the way this movie is playing out. It's like, right, now let's have a little look at what we're attracting, where our mindset is, where our
Mm.
energy is going. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, when people say, oh, it never rains, but it pours. I'm like, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not surprised it's fucking pouring because you're thinking the same thoughts.
Yeah.
You're attracting the
100%.
same energy back in again. We need
Yeah.
to reframe this. We need to work on this.
Yeah. And that's the good thing, because you have when you can take responsibility for your side
Yeah.
of the street and what you're bringing to the table, like you say, in terms of energy and attracting that and allowing that and receiving
Yes.
that,
Yeah.
then you can take your part of responsibility and turn it around. Like, you got the power to change it all.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's one of those things as well. It's like when people are like, yeah, but where do I start? Like, where do I start?
Yeah.
I think first of all, you need to get really, really clear on your vision,
Yeah.
what it is you want. Or even if you don't know what you want, get really clear on what you don't want.
Yeah, that's
You
it.
know? Yeah.
Yes, because
When you can,
sometimes it's a bit open-ended, isn't it? And it's like, well, I don't
absolutely.
know what I want.
I don't
It's
know
like,
what I want. No
yeah,
problem. Let's start with what you don't want. What do you
Yeah.
not want your life to look like? Or what do you not want the next 12 weeks to look like, or the next year? What don't you
Yeah.
want for this
Yeah.
year? Once you do that piece, it's then you need to put an identity behind it. Okay, so I want this. Why do I want it?
Mm.
Like, why is it so important? Is it money? Is it freedom? Is it a feeling? Is it whatever it be? Like, why? Understanding why that thing is so important. And then the next point is then you start taking action. And then that's when you kind of start to see the magic come in.
Yeah. And what I love about what you've said as well is that you've really, like, I've always had the same belief as you. Like, with business, the best thing you can do is be like completely neutral about the business. Take your
Yeah.
ego
Yeah.
out of the equation and the expectations, and looking outside of yourself, where it's like, oh well, that person's making 10k straight out the gate, that
Yeah.
person's doing this, that person's that, and then reflecting everything back to yourself. It's like, actually, in my experience of working with men, because I've always been in like male dominated industries, like even
Yeah.
my businesses were male, so I
Yeah.
had like barbershop, tattoo studio, like they just approach everything with a very logical, like neutral energy,
Yeah.
which means that they can be curious, which
Yeah.
means that they're always in like solutions mode, rather
Yeah.
than like, oh, this is a me problem. It's like, this is
Yes.
just a problem and
This
it
is
needs
just
to
a
be
problem.
fixed. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
and let's fix it and move on. And they don't allow like failures to, like, you know, make them retreat under their duvet for
Yeah.
6 months thinking that they're just useless and everybody hates them. They're
Yeah.
like,
No.
even people come back from bankruptcies, don't they? Like signing
Oh my
their own. It's
gosh.
like
Yeah. Do
we
you
all
know
need
what? When I was talking to Gary Vee, well, Gary
yeah,
Vee told this story, and I was like, oh
yeah,
my God. He said when Uber first was about to come out,
yeah.
he got approached to buy Uber.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And he
And he
passed on
said,
it, didn't he?
yeah. And he said, I think he said it's something like it was going to cost 50 million or something like that. And he said, I passed on it. He said, and I ended up investing in this other company. And he named the company, and everyone was sat there and was like, huh? And he was like, exactly, right? It's like, he said, I ended up losing in the end in profit, probably about 500, something like 550 million in profit. He probably said I lost. And he was like, but okay, obviously it's a big number, it hit, but he said, but I took it as a learning. The
Yeah,
energy didn't feel right at the time. It wasn't right for me, but that's okay because it means that there'll be other things. It
yeah.
doesn't mean it's the end of the world, the end of my life, and I need to go and hide for a couple of years. It's like it happened.
You can still invest in stocks and
Abs-
shares. It's fine.
Absolutely, right? He said
Yeah.
his brother AJ was the first person to ever take an Uber.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
really? How interesting. I didn't realize his brother was like involved in the business. So
Yeah.
just out of curiosity, like what was the ratio versus like the male speakers versus the women?
I would have said 80-20.
Oh,
80%
really? Wow.
male. Yeah,
Yeah.
80% male, 20% female. But you know what, like I think it's one of those things, and this is how I take a lot, because I invest a lot of time and energy back into myself. So yeah, I went to see Gary Vee. Obviously, I saw you last week. Saturday, I went to another event with like my mindset coach and spiritual coach. And I think it's one of those things, you know what, you can go to these events and they can give you a wealth of knowledge, but you have to take what's right for you,
Yeah.
you know?
100%. That's it. Take what you need and leave what you
Yeah.
don't.
And leave
And
everything else on the
yeah.
table.
And it's learning that discernment. But I think the shame of it for me, so obviously, you know, primarily I'm a money mindset coach. And for me, that comes from a real connection. Like you said, you need to have the why. It's
Yeah.
because my whole life, like my mum was really disempowered when it came to money. And that impacted me, like, and my siblings, like, massively. But equally, then when I came into business, I could see where, oh my God, like all of this untapped potential, all of this incredible
Absolutely.
like
Yeah.
creativity, skills, gifts that are just literally like going down the drain, because
Yeah.
none of these women that I was connecting with and networking with and even mentoring were even like really looking beyond the next month, the next paycheck. They were all had what I call, which is probably a little bit like insulting, but essentially side hustle and pocket money businesses.
Yeah.
Their only motivation was to either have somewhat financial dependence from their or independence from their partner, or just have a little bit of money to tick them over. Like nobody,
Exactly.
yeah, nobody was really looking at, actually, if we all collectively got together and became wealthy, where we
Yes.
were actually making sustainable legacy based businesses that are going to impact our generation and the ones to come, because we are, you know, ready to be seen, to be heard,
Yeah.
to be paid, to be visible, to be change makers.
Yeah.
Like we could actually change the goddamn world. All those
Oh
things
my
I've known
God.
about. Yeah,
100%, right? It's
yeah,
like, and you must find this a lot as well. Like the amount of women I come into contact with who are like, I want to do this, but I want
yeah.
to do this, but, and I'm like, Right.
I always
The
laugh about
potential you have is huge. Like,
yes,
come on, let's do this. How can I help you? How can I shadow you? How can I mentor you? And I do that. I mean, I don't work with friends or anything like that, but it's like there are so many amazing women. It's like, let's start shouting about each other that are doing incredible things in their space. Let's lift them up, because when you have that energy, that's something pretty special.
Oh my God, I truly believe like the power of community and collective energy with women is like going to change the world. But because up until this point, so just touching on what you said about the but, I always try and get my clients to change that word to and. So I want to make loads of money, and like then there's an opportunity for a follow-on scenario, a solution to that problem, rather than but that feels like a full stop. So
it feels like the stuck bit, doesn't it? It's like that. It's definitely. Like, but it's not that. This is that is the opportunity for growth. That is the opportunity to change. And that is the 100%. Opportunity to start living your life on your own goddamn terms. Like,
and finding a way, like regardless of your excuses, your circumstances, your situations, like all of the things, there is always a bloody way. And this in today's time, like even if you're an introvert and you don't want to be on Instagram, there's people setting up Instagram pages without even their face that are making six figures. If you want like there's just so many different ways now that we are living in a truly amazing time. But I did want to touch a little bit on the community element, and like you say, like the more that we lift each other up, because that's really interesting. Like your experience where you were saying like I made one phone call to a friend and she really just like put things in place for me so that I could then have that confidence and that assurance to go off and do my thing. I had complete reverse, like me becoming and I think my journey starts maybe a little bit ahead of yours. So I've been in business like 9 years. So this was way before COVID, before Zoom was a thing, before social media was a thing. Like Instagram, I think was only really like a new platform. Definitely not used for monetization. It was just like, here's pictures of my kids, and nobody really understood it. It was like very weird. So for me, like literally my only option at that time was to go and buy a brick and mortar business and sell my house, which then meant that I relocated. But genuinely within my circle and friends that I'd been friends with for 20 years, like there was not one other person that was an entrepreneur or that did even anything remotely. If you did network marketing, it was a bit like, oh God, now we can't talk to her. Like literally, please God, don't sell me anything. I've got one friend, like God love her, she was a hairdresser, and every week it was something else. And it was like teeth whitening and Summers, Body Shop, like it was always something else, where it got to the point where like nobody wanted to speak to her because she was always trying to sell shit, and it was never anything you wanted. It was like you're just trying to be polite, and it was like
not today, babe.
Like honestly it was a nightmare. And it was like there's only so many like fucking sex toys I can buy. Like I literally don't even want anything, and it's like
I've got it. We're good.
Like Jesus. So it was so funny. And then but when I then had my business, like that was the beginning of the end of my friendships, because they didn't recognize, like we said, it becomes like you become unleashed, you become like this powerful woman who suddenly has to have difficult conversations and personal boundaries and be efficient with your time. And you suddenly realize, like intuitively, who are the people that are supporting me, liking my posts, sharing my stuff, buying my shit, and who are the people that just like scroll on past, and you know, when you're doing the late nights and everything else, suddenly don't want to know you because you're not there at every brunch. You. And so I literally have none of my original friendship group, and these are like godmothers to my kids, you know, went on my hen do, like people that I thought I was gonna die with, girls for life. So it's so interesting, like how have your friendship groups supported your journey and transformation, like your evolution?
So do you know what, I think let's strip it back slightly, because I think one of the biggest things that I've learned is that my energy is my biggest frequency, or is my biggest currency, right? So, and I look at people in different areas, and it's like they're either a tap or they're a drain.
Love that.
That is how real it is with me. You're either a tap or you're a drain. And I've obviously noticed where people are maybe more drains and where people are more taps. So I know if my energy is my biggest currency, where I'm going to be pouring it. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't wipe people out, but I will limit people. Do you know what I mean? If I feel like, do you know what, this isn't going to help my space today. I've got a lot to do. I've got people to serve. I've got to show up. I will limit how much I contact with them. Do you know? So that's the first biggest piece, I think, for me, is being really super aware of where my energy is going and how I can help other people with it as well, right? It's like when me and you get in contact with each other, it's like the energy is wicked, you know, because it's like, and it's so much fun. And that's the space I want to be in. So I'm really aware of that. And then I think the other thing that, when I made that phone call to my friend and she recommended this particular coach to me, this coach had a community.
Yeah.
And it's like when you get into that community and you start really getting nitty gritty within the people and the environment and the energy space, that's when you then start to change, because then your mindset starts to change. And we know that it's like your thoughts will create your reality.
Yeah. And it's your belief system, isn't it? Because
absolutely, right?
Like definitely I had that that fear, as all women do, which is weird, you know, showing up on stories that's unsafe because people might judge me, people might not like me, and all of the things. And that at our very core is like one of our basic human needs, isn't it? To be liked by our community and our tribe. So the more that you can then create, and that's the thing, like if you want more money, but actually what you're thinking you need to do in order to get more money is out of alignment with your belief system of what is actually safe for you as a mom, as a woman, and all the things, then you're going to have one foot on the gas, one foot on the brake.
Absolutely.
But if you can actually surround yourself with the people that are like, not only is this safe, but we are clapping with you.
We are doing this.
Yes. We have got you, girl. We see you. We salute you. We applaud you. There's no judgment. There's no like backstabbing here. Like that is when a woman is truly like unleashed.
Exactly that. And I like, I've got friends who are wicked. Like you've got people that you know in your circle that you can take the craziest idea to and be like, I'm thinking of doing this.
Yeah.
And there's always the people that are like, hell yes, come on, you can. I think you're batshit crazy, but yes, let's do it.
Let's go.
And then there's the other people, isn't it? They're on the other end of the scale that are like, and it's like I'm super aware.
I remember having a conversation with my brother. I don't know if you've got anyone like this in my family. He's a bit of a running joke and a big part of my brand story. So it's always like I bring him up because he's like my biggest hater, like in the nicest possible way. Like he will always be like on my stories, like trolling me. And I'm like, thank you, love you. But we went away a little while ago and he was saying to me like, well, we're not all like you. It's just, it is what it is. Everyone hates Monday. You're not meant to like your job. That's just how it is. Like, so I've been like, he's my soul's mission to recruit him over to the dark side of entrepreneurship.
Absolutely.
For what he's doing. But it just made me die. I was like, that is literally everything that is wrong with the world.
Everything that's wrong with the world. Why
you're just meant to get through the week, suck it up, meant to hate 90% of your life. And then you have like a couple of days off and you're good.
Like, it's like, I always like, sometimes I look around, you know, when, I don't know, you're on a train or whatever, and I look at all these people and I liken them to like robots.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah.
They're stuck in this robotic world where it's like, I must go to work, I must eat, sleep, shit, on holiday once a year, and then I'll retire. I might have got a cruise and I'll go.
Yeah, and please God, I don't die before then, because that's the point at which I can like enjoy my life. And let's hope that I'm well and able to actually make the most of it.
Exactly that. Like it's like we've lost that bit of being almost in control of our own thoughts and our own reality.
Yeah. So what I love about your business though is that I'm guessing, because it's a product-based business, again, like it. And tell me if I'm wrong, like if there is like, is it a brand that you've built and everything else?
So there's a couple of elements to what I do. So yes, there's the products business, and there is a brand behind that. So it is a completely natural, we're vegan, chemical free dog products. So we sell everything from shampoos, balms, treats, sprays, all that side of things. But then off of the back of that as well, because I've done quite well and I've done all the work from it, I've then stepped into the coaching space. So I'm now coaching other women how to do exactly the same thing and how to repeat the process.
Because that's the thing, like I said, there's never been a better time to really step into that, like just to give it a go, just to see.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And
because you came from corporate as well, didn't you? So you must have at some point sat on a train, whether it be going into London or another long journey, another night in the car, and you think,
I literally moved my mum into my house because I had to go back to work after my first baby, after 5 years of IVF and trying to get pregnant, 6 weeks after she was born. straight
Jesus.
back into London, straight back full time. There was no like compressed hours, part time. It was like, bitch, you got to work. So I was self-employed on a contract, or a freelancer, sorry.
Yeah.
So so I literally moved my mum, who is like a whole fucking podcast episode in itself, into my house, just so that I could leave her in her own bed every day, knowing that she was going to be at least like somewhat in her environment. And the personal sacrifices that I made, like I literally used to cry every day on the way to work. And I just kept thinking, like, how is this life? Like, you know, I've had such a long, hard struggle in life for most of it anyway. And I was like, I literally finally get what I want. This feels like the cruelest twist of fate that I now don't have to be with my kids. And it's like, I get so much from my work, but equally I get so much from my kids. Like they've expanded me in different ways as well. So it was just so hard being in corporate, but also I was such a people pleaser, like such a watered down version of me. I think I said to you last week that literally I used to have to go and cry in the toilets because I'm such an empath. I don't know why I ever worked in human resources. Like the shit that people would tell me, I'd be like, oh my God, it never happened. Like, and how is Auntie Doris? Is she okay? Like, I need updates. I need to see what's going to happen with the story. And it could have been absolute bullshit, but I would walk away, like, absorbing everybody's energy. Yeah, because you're like the emotional dumping bag in HR. Like, everybody wants to, like, from God, if they've got a rash, like, I had people trying to, like, show me rashes. And I'm like, go put your body away. I've got no idea, like, how to help you with that. It was it was such an interesting time, but again, so grateful for that journey, because if I didn't get to a point where, and here's the thing, I didn't hate my job.
It was never about that. It was never about that.
Yeah, but it was the universe knew better. Like I was settling hard for what I thought, because I was a single parent, was the safest route for me. Like I had my house, job, company car, like this is living the dream, really, surely. Like that's as good as it gets for someone like me. I used to tell myself. And to want any more, like God forbid, you know, any.
It almost feels greedy, doesn't it? It feels dirty. It feels bad. To be like, actually, I want more. And it's almost like people feel like they're going to be frowned upon. And I think that's such a sad thing about society, isn't it? It's like if you don't conform to this box, you don't stay within this confinement, then but it's like, hang on a minute, this is my life.
It's interesting though, like watching the generations come up behind us, because we are obviously products of our environment and our time. And what was acceptable. I literally just did a training on the mother wound, and how, like, for my mum, who worked at the co-op and like did like all these little hustly type jobs that would just pay her a little bit here and there, like she thought I'd lost the plot in wanting to be like full-time corporate, earning a decent salary. She like actively encouraged me, like, just go sit on benefits, do your time, be with your kids, be a mother, and then you can do this, like when you're older, like And I was like, but girl, like
that's not what I want.
Like, I don't want that life for my kids anymore. I want to have choice. I want to be able to live where we want to live. I want to send my kids to the school that I want to send them to. I want choice. Like ultimately that's what I was chasing. Whereas you know, no disrespect, but where we came from, it was like you were put in with all the fucking weirdos and all the like, you had no choice or power in anything that you did. So it's interesting now, because my kids coming up, it's almost like managing their expectations. My son said to me today on the way to school, he was like, so I need you to get me signed for Watford, because he's a big football player. And I'm like, I'm like, you're not even doing lessons, let alone in an academy. It's like, well, this is the plan for the year, so you're going to get me into an academy. I'm like, oh, okay, then I'm going to be pro until I'm like 30, mid-30s. Ronaldo's still playing, it's fine. Like, he's figured it all out. And I'm like, I don't even know if you're any good at football, but I was just like, I don't know. So, you know, and it's like, okay, sure. And then I'm going to be a YouTuber after that. So then I'm going to, like, he's got the marketing. He's got,
I love it. I love that.
But I'm like, okay, now he's expecting me to like create this magic. And I'm like, okay, this is interesting. Like, next generation is interesting.
Absolutely.
Like, their expectations are next level.
But equally, I love that though, right? I love that you've got that vision, because it's kind of like, And this is another reason why I did what I did, was because it's like, how can I sit there and look my kids in the eye and say, go on, you can do anything you want in this life. You can take on the world, go and follow your dreams, chase your dreams. If they look at me and they're like, but you ain't.
Yes. Yeah.
You haven't. So how can I?
Yeah.
And it's exactly that, isn't it? I say to Willow all the time, me and Willow have this saying, and I'm like, what can girls do? She's like, anything.
Oh,
I'm like, yes, they bloody well can. You can do anything.
yeah.
And whatever it might, I mean, yeah, she's a little bit like your son. She's absolutely determined she's going to be an elf for Santa.
Oh, okay.
And obviously she's 5.
When I grow up, I'm going to be an elf.
Right, yeah. Oh, yeah. I get it all the time. When I grow up, I'm going to be an elf. I'm like, okay. That's what you want to be. I mean, she doesn't know obviously the real truth about Santa, so that might be a little bit crushing. But I encourage it. I'm like,
be her version an elf, though, can't she?
Absolutely.
Like, I'm sure there's a TikTok out there for somewhere for that.
Right, exactly that.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to be an elf, babe, we'll milk you on it. Like, come on, then, let's do this.
So that's the thing. Like, how has this impacted like how you're bringing up? Is it just the one that you have?
Yeah, I've just got one.
So how has this impacted like your journey with her then as a mum? Because she's seen you like being away all the time, presumably in corporate, and then now having that flexibility and freedom.
Having the flexibility and freedom, she absolutely loves, because she is an absolute mummy's girl. She follows me everywhere, and I think it's more for me. The way it's affected her is through the mindset piece.
Yeah,
because the more and more I work on that, the more and more it rubs off on her. So then we get the product of all of it together, which is then the time with her, the freedom with her. But like I brought her to the States. Obviously, we met in the States when we were doing Fox TV, and I brought her with me for one specific reason, and I had to take her out of school, and I didn't care if school fined me, because it wasn't about that. The reason I wanted to take her was because I wanted to show her that, look, you can do anything you want. Did mummy think she was going to be on Fox TV like a year ago or 2 years ago? No, never did I. But I've done it, so you can do what you want. And that was the number one reason I was like, I'm bringing you with me. Yeah, to prove to her that you really can do anything you want.
I just love that. That's so true as well, isn't it? Like I literally just did a training on this about how influential like our relationships with our mothers is on what we perceive as safe and our own capabilities and limitations. The more that we can deal with our shit and essentially like be unstoppable badasses, that, you know, it's still very much having a human experience, isn't perfect, you know, and all the things, because that's a heavy crown to wear. But the more that we recognize where we are the blocks to our own success, deal with that, and then go and live our life on our own terms, the more that filters down to our kids, because it's like monkey see, monkey do, doesn't it?
Absolutely,
like you said earlier.
Absolutely. You
have to be the embodiment of what you're ultimately trying to teach them.
Exactly that. And even if you can't be, you need to believe that you can be, first of all.
So what I love as well about the product-based business, because I had an Amazon business as well for a while, and like there's some like nuances and stuff with the back end that literally drove me bananas. But the good thing is, like, it is the ultimate flexible business, isn't it? Because you can put in the time in the like you can front load the time that you put into it, and then it will continue to be like monthly recurring revenue, like the gift that keeps on giving. You can do it around full-time jobs, you can do it around the kids, you can be on camera, not camera, and you don't need to have a personal brand. Like,
no, you don't. No, you
like,
can, you know, and I think that's the thing, isn't it? These days, if you've got the knowledge, you can ship from China, you can do white labeling, you can do your own brand,
drop shipping.
You can look. You don't even need to touch the physical product these days. You can look whichever way you want it to, however you envisage it. It can.
You know what? That's making me laugh actually, because one of my iterations when I was on maternity leave, I think with my third son, with my first son, sorry, was me and my sister went and bought a business from eBay. So it was a wedding supplies shop that had gone out of business, and we literally had to drive to Kent with my partner, her partner, because obviously we needed like 2 cars, and it was boxfuls of the most amount of tat and crap you have ever seen. That then literally took over a dining room for like the whole of my maternity leave. And then by that point, like we had not figured it out. I realized suddenly very quickly that you can't build a sustainable living on eBay selling like 99p bullshit. And it was so funny because she was like, hello, like you've gone back to work. My house will say, I'm scared I'm gonna like die by fucking a wedding charms. Like, what is this? Like, so
even in itself, like you learned from that, right? You started to learn the basics of what works, what doesn't work. They start to learn the basics of business, and that probably gave you the confidence to try the next thing and the next thing and the next thing.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Like genuinely, it was so overwhelming to me. I had no experience or exposure to anything business wise. But what I essentially realized was business is just about relationships.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
it really got me into like just gave me like pulled through so many different skills that I didn't even know I had. And typically it's the things that we're innately good at, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like I'm a chatty Cathy. I've
Yeah,
got a podcast. Like
yeah.
that, I didn't need to change to. I'm always going to be a chatty Cathy, as Sally knows, as I overran on my live training.
We love it that way.
Yeah, like that is who I've been since I was 5 years old.
Yeah,
like chewing the ear off other kids in the playgrounds. So now, like rather than try and be a different version of me and what I think would lead to success, it's like actually it's about going back to who you've always been, and
absolutely.
then that's how business gets to be easy. Like we come on and it genuinely feels like, oh, I'm so excited, like having a little catch up. I almost forget we're recording a podcast episode because I'm just so in flow. And like I say,
that's how it should be, right?
Yeah.
And I think we've had these conversations before, haven't we, where it's like the internet can be full of such shit.
Yes.
It can't it?
Yeah.
And it's like actually when you meet people who are properly authentic, who want to lift you up, who want to help you grow, whether that be in business, whether that be mentally, spiritually, financially, when you meet those people that really have got your back, that's when magic happens.
Yeah, definitely. And that's when you have that strength not strength, but like the confidence to do it in your own way, which is ultimately your superpower. That's the thing.
Yeah.
What I realized was when I moved over from like physical businesses to coaching, I had like this new like coaching persona that I was like, oh, so this is me, badass, super powerful, always on top of my shit, like don't have any kids in the background, like absolutely losing their minds. Everything was polished and like perfect. And it was almost like the HR version of me coming out, where it's like even the pictures and stuff were like just I don't even know who that woman is. She doesn't live here. Like I don't show up 90% of the time like that. Who was that woman? And then I realized as I went on, and again through building communities, having real fucking honest conversations with other women in business, that actually I am like masking who I am as a person, which means that I'm then attracting completely the wrong clients. The just so different personality type, different and obviously I do human design now, so it's quite interesting with my clients. I'm a manifesting generator, high vibe, you know, lots of different things going on, but I attract a lot of projectors because they're drawn to my energy, and it's like I am like the yin to their yang. But when I was also trying to be like a projector and, you know, all of the things super like scheduled, planned out, strategic, it meant that I was like attracting these really like just weird clients that weren't my people, that wanted the world, Actually, by being me, that created a USP for no one can literally do what I do like I do it, because they
and I think that's it, right?
They did.
You are your own USP. You absolutely are. And when you're authentic and you show, it's like I did a live the other day and I did it on a train station. I only popped on for 10 minutes and my nose was running the whole time. And I was feeling, but I was like, so like runny noses are part of life, but I am me, I am authentic, and my intentions are pure.
So, and people don't need you to be perfect. They just need to show up.
They need you to show up, and they need you to be real, if anything, because then you're so much more relatable. When you try and make this polished version of something, it's like, well, is that really how it is? And then people can't relate to it as well, because like you said, you've got, it's like I was a voice note the other day, and it's like, you know, when you have stimulation overload and people are trying to talk, you've got your kids trying to talk to you, the microwave's on, the dinner's on, the TV's on, there's a toy on the floor that's going off, you're still processing the conversation you had with your mother 20 minutes ago, and it's like, this is who I am, this is real. So just
I love that, because that is, because the flip side to that, like anything, there's a yin and a yang, a dark and a light. And feminine leadership is us doing our thing, and when we really put our intention, energy, we're going to create something truly magical that men don't have resources and access to. So rather than trying to do business like a man and be on all the time and create this impossible benchmark that then means that nobody else feels like they can reach it. It's about being real, like you say, showing everybody else what's possible for them too.
Do you know what? Talking of being real, for some reason, my printer has just started to go absolutely mental. So I don't know whether you heard that or not, but that is, I don't know why.
Oh
So
my
I was
God.
like, do you remember old
What's
school
coming out? Like a fax?
Nothing. You remember old school fax machines where they used to go up and it sounded like that for a minute? And I'm like,
oh my God, don't. Weird things happen on my calls, Sally, because and I've had calls with Ellie before as well. She says that there's always like guides standing behind me, and just weird things happen all the time. And I've been doing my calls, like the door opens, things fall off. And I'm like,
I love that though. You're just like, oh, hello.
Yeah, no, but I feel like I'm being supported then,
yeah,
which feels really nice.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Like I feel like I'm being supported, right? Like they're not instantly, are they? They're not telling me to stop swearing.
Again, that's like a mindset thing, isn't it? It's like you can either look at that and be like, shit, I'm so scared, everything's gonna go right. Oh, you can be like, oh,
got my squad.
Come to join me.
Yeah.
I like that.
Let's
More
go.
company.
Yeah. So if you had, I just got like a real image then a moment ago of like me on the train, literally like trying to cry, but not let anybody know that I'm crying. Like just so like I used to work in London, so it was like absolute
same here.
Like everybody's hanging, like especially when I was pregnant the second time. I was like, what is wrong with you? Everybody's got the most offensive aftershaves on, they smell like alcohol. Like, I fucking hate all of you. If there is a woman who is currently like, I know that I'm meant for more, but I don't know where to start, like what would you encourage them to do to start building up, other than obviously come and invest in your services, obviously?
Absolutely.
But equally, is that like investing in a coach? Like that's a symbolic gesture, but what should they do to start like planting the seeds to getting them to where they want to be, so they can essentially escape the 9 to 5?
Absolutely. So there's a couple of tips that I would give you here. First would be that I'm actually running a live. I'm running a series of 3 lives as of next week, for a couple of weeks, where I will be going into this in much more detail. But I think first of all, absolutely get clear on your vision. Get clear on what you don't want as well as what you do want. So those would be the first things. Then I would give it identity, and I'd be like, right, okay, so I need to replace my corporate job and I need to make £2,000 a month. Okay, why do I need to make £2,000 a month? Like really understand the ins and outs of it. And then the next thing is obviously to take action. And you can do this by literally, it's like even going on, what is it, like Facebook Marketplace and stuff like that. People are giving stuff away, because their priority is completely different to what your priority is. Your priority is, maybe in that particular moment, is money. Their priority is space.
Yeah.
So start having a look at, and that's where the opportunities then lie, isn't it? It's like, oh, can I go and pick something up and then, I don't know, sell it on a different platform? Can I make money that way? So it'd be those things that I'd probably say to you to start doing first of all, to really get clear on.
And that's the mindset of an entrepreneur, isn't it? It's like where everybody else is saying like, oh, like COVID, like, the petrol prices, money, like there's cost of living crisis. It's like that's the difference between the corporate mindset and the entrepreneur who just sees opportunity and sees that people are still buying, people are still eating, people still need like services and things. So therefore, where is my opportunity within that? Because the money doesn't disappear even in a economic downturn. It just gets redistributed. And I think the mindset of the entrepreneur is to identify the opportunities in the shitstorm. And that's when you can start doing that. And when, rather than engaging in those conversations where you're like, yeah, shit, yeah, it's right. Like,
take yourself out of those conversations.
Yeah. And you start instead like getting into the conversations where it's like, oh, well, I'm still making money, and this is what I'm seeing is coming in and that people want. And, you start having those conversations instead. That's when you're truly unstoppable as an entrepreneur.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you. And let's be real. If it's not COVID, if it's not the economic crisis, there's always going to be something.
Yeah. So, and who likes to perpetuate that cycle, by the way, as well? So even when we say there's a cost of living crisis, the reality is it's inflation. Like that has been since the dawn of time. There isn't a cost of living crisis. It's that rather than focusing on the expansion and the opportunities to make more money, it's the people that are focusing on trying to save money that are feeling that struggle. So the reality is like, yes, the cost of food and everything has gone up. Hello, I have 5 kids. Like I absolutely feel that. It's insane. Well, I've got 6 kids in the house because my stepson's here. So I'm feeding like a household of 7 people and a fucking German Shepherd. Like,
oh my God.
let me tell you, like my food bills are next level, and I've massively seen like things have gone up 33%, 50%. But equally, I am living in a time where people will pay me thousands of pounds to sit at home with my kids and mentor them.
Absolutely,
like,
right?
Literally. And I was saying this to my brother, and I was like, last January, I earned like, I don't know, I want to say something like 10 times my monthly salary in 1 month.
In 1 month.
Yeah. And I was like, never has there been such an abundant time to have a side hustle, to have another income, to be of value in more ways than just like trading your time for money in a job. And I was saying to him, like, you've got so many skills, you're almost like losing money by being at work. What waste of your fucking time? Like 8 hours a day plus your traveling time. Think what you could do if you could sit at a desk and put 10 hours into a business.
Exactly.
And it's like, the math just was not mathing to me anymore. I was like, there is no way that I could go back to a corporate job. I would literally be wasting so much money. I might as well be burning it in the garden by sitting at a desk for somebody else when I can sit here and make so much more money online. And it's like, that's the thing. There is no,
and that's the thing, isn't it? You can make so much more money doing it your way, and also you can have the freedom to live your life on your terms at the same time.
Yes, and you get to be happy. And you get to be at home with your kids. I'm homeschooling now, though. It's like, you end up like busying yourself pretty damn quick. So I'm like,
you do.
I'm going to go for a coffee later. I'm like, I need that bougie, like entrepreneurial freedom lifestyle. I can't be sitting here at a desk and homeschooling all day. But that's the thing, isn't it? Like, is there a cost of living crisis, or is it that, people haven't like
they haven't elevated, I think, their mindset. I think that's what it is.
I don't want to be insensitive, because absolutely, like, but equally, when like there is no excuse, like literally I have been a single mum with 5 kids since I was 6 months pregnant, like with my baby, and then continued to grow a business from there with no support. Like, I've got no family here. I've got no like grandparents around the
same
corner.
as me. I have no family.
I literally live like an hour and a half away from my 2 sole family members that I've got that could ever be useful. And even they're like, you're taking the piss now with babysitting. Like 5 kids is a fucking piss take. So if I can do it and find a way in London and hold my way, so can you. Like, absolutely. I promise you, I didn't, although I have a master's degree now, like I didn't even finish school with exams. I didn't have like an entrepreneurial circle of friends. I didn't have a family that supported me. Like, genuinely, and I'm not fucking special in any way. I'm not motivated.
Same as me.
I'm not like, honestly,
I wasn't given a magic ingredient. There is no magic button or that I've suddenly pushed or anything like that. It's like, I am who I am.
But it is that desire, isn't it? It's that why.
The desire. It starts with desire, and I think a lot of the time it starts with the sense of people actually want a feeling.
Yes,
they want a feeling. They want to. There's something that they want, whether that be freedom, happiness. It's those sorts of things, and when you really, really understand that of what it is, that's the thing that will drive you.
Yeah, 100%. And that's when you get out of your own way, isn't it? Like,
absolutely.
I was the girl that would die at the thought of people like judging me, not liking me. Like, I would just, honestly, that would keep me up at night for like 3 days in a row if I thought that somebody didn't like me. And then I would make it their personal mission that now they need to love me. And now I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a shit if you don't like me. That's absolutely fine, because the desire and the mission is so much bigger than that. Absolutely. I'm okay to look stupid. Because ultimately, like you say, I'll take away something from this experience, and it's also not about me. It's about the women that need my help.
Absolutely, it's about them.
Feeding my kids. So it's like, you're so right when you say, like, it is about that desire that will get you out of your way and get your ass out of bed.
Yes,
when
it will.
you don't feel like it. When
Yeah.
everybody else is telling you, oh, no one's buying, that will give you the like, but I'm just gonna do it anyway, because I want to do it. I need to do it. Like, I have to do it.
I'm just gonna start. I'm just gonna try. I'm just gonna do that one thing, and then that one thing leads to another thing, and then it snowballs, and that's when it starts getting really special.
Oh, I'm so excited. Thank you so much, Sally, for being you.
Being you.
When you do the work, and it sounds like you've done so much work as well, which I love. And obviously that's a huge thing, isn't it? Women are so reluctant to invest in themselves.
Absolutely.
Because the concern around the return on investment. And I always say, if you are investing in a coach or a mentor just for the ROI and thinking it's going to give you money,
it's not.
Like, that's really fucking sad.
Yeah.
You feel like you can only invest in yourself if you're going to get a payoff, because you're missing out on an opportunity to be seen, heard, held, supported.
It's the growth piece as well, again, isn't it? Growth.
That you're not going to get in any other area of your life.
No.
Guess what? You can use your partner as your diary and your sounding board, and you can use your friends and drive them mad, but actually having, you know, investing in yourself and a mentor and all the things, like that's where the true like activations
it starts to kick in.
happen.
Doesn't it just?
So if there are, I know I've got some women in my audience, because I've got a really great audience that love to like send me feedback from the show.
Fabulous.
And I know I've got women in there that are like, I'm still in my job at the moment, but like So this to me is like the perfect solution, because anyone, like you say, drop shipping, you don't even have to pay for the stock or have it cluttering up your living room anymore, girls.
No,
like,
you don't.
You can literally, like, the most basic, like, not basic bitch, but I mean as in like low risk, give it a go and see what you are made of. Opportunity that ever there was is that product business, that is like drop shipping, that is you know, you can build your own personal brand, and like you've got so many different options depending on where you're at with so everybody should have one. Like even I had an Amazon business at one point, just to kind of like dip my toes in the water.
Let's start.
And what I learned was amazing. So I'm so excited that you're doing this and that you're able to really support that community of women who are just so like desperately in need of you to be out there shining your light and giving them that segue and that solution. So if my ladies want to come and find you, what is the best way for them to come and grab you?
You can pop my links in probably in the video below. Otherwise, come and drop me a message on Facebook.
What's your it's Instagram handle and your Facebook?
So my Instagram is 1starbox, so number 1 Starbox, and then my Facebook is just my name, and you will find me.
So Sally Tarbux. Love it.
Come over, drop me over a message. Let's have a conversation. Let's have a chat. Make some magic.
Let's go change the world.
Absolutely. Let's start living it on our terms as well.
I'm so here for that. So thank you so much for joining us for today's episode. I cannot wait for the women to hear it. And obviously make sure that you like, share with any women that need this as well, and subscribe to the podcast on YouTube. Thank you so much, ladies. Have a great week.
Thank you for listening to this episode. It's been amazing to share this time with you, and I feel honoured to be part of your journey. If you've loved what you've heard, had an aha moment, or found value in this episode, then please do like, comment and share. I would love to connect with you on Instagram and Facebook, so come and find me, and I look forward to helping you build your epic life.